I've been waiting for this album for what feels like forever, and finally it's here. Zeros by Declan McKenna has been a long time coming after unfortunately being twice delayed, but at last we have it, and it feels really good to finally say that. Following up his incredible debut album, What Do You Think About the Car, Zeros has some very big footsteps to follow. He introduced us to this new era with the single Beautiful Faces, which I will admit, I wasn't that big of a fan of at first. However, it has quickly become one of my favourite songs of the year, so that just shows what this era is bringing. It's not bringing these instant hits, it's bringing songs that grow and songs that are going to stay with you over time. I love the guitar solo in this, as well as Declan's clearly more developed vocals. He never sounded bad on the first album, but you can definitely see a growth in his vocal capability on this one. Zeros also offered up the singles The Key to Life on Earth, Daniel You're Still a Child and Be an Astronaut, all of which I love. I do have a slight criticism against The Key to Life on Earth, feeling a tad bit too familiar, a bit generic, but regardless of that, it grew on me. I loved it and I played it all summer, and it came with an absolutely iconic music video that I can't help but love and praise Declan for. Daniel You're Still a Child is the other single, and it's not only my favourite single, but it's my favourite track from the album at the moment, and it has this really addictive and groovy bass guitar that's very prominent throughout. This again was a track that had to grow on me over a couple of listens, and I've actually found that with a great chunk of this record. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it was a slight concern I had going in. The other single, Be an Astronaut, is a gorgeous and understandably fan favourite. I really love the piano on this. I love the exploration of sounds in general on this album. Declan is definitely more confident here on his sophomore record. He's clearly becoming more confident in himself and his judgment, and more comfortable in exploring himself as well as his influences. Rapture was the latest release before the record dropped, and it's up there with Daniel You're Still a Child for being my favourite on the album. The robotic vocal sample is a nice addition to add a unique flair to the song, allowing it to stand out on the track list. If anything, I'd say Rapture stands out more than any other song. Actually, there is another song which stands out, however this is where my one criticism will come into play. Emily is my one dud on the track list. This song sounds a bit like a Harry Styles track, which could be seen as a compliment, and by all means take it. However, for me personally, it's a Harry Styles song that I'd probably skip, maybe occasionally listen to. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't skip Emily if it happened to come on, but if I was flicking through the album, it's not a song I would go to. Declan really pulls from his influences of glam and indie rock on this album while still delivering those pop hits that we all love him for. You Better Believe is a high octane opener to the album, and I cannot wait to hear this one performed live, and I love the reference back to album 1. Twice Your Size is a really gorgeous indie rock track, and it heavily pulls from an influence I cannot pinpoint right now. These reviews are incredible, I know, God knows why you come here. However, I must compliment his vocal performance once again on this, and that's actually something I'm going to carry on doing, because I really think his vocals grew on this album compared to the first. Eventually Darling is a beautiful way to close the album. The line "I don't mean to be shallow, I'm just moving on" is a line that has stuck with me ever since I first heard it. I love the manipulation to his vocals and the post-chorus. In fact, I love the production on this entire track. Sagittarius A Star is another one. I can't wait to hear this one live. This track is a really cute one. This would have been my summer song if it were released back in May, but alas, we are here. This will probably be getting played all through summer 2021. So all in all, outside of Emily, I'd say this album really does exceed my expectations. I love this one, and it's definitely up there with my favourite albums of the year alongside Rina Sawayama and Phoebe Bridgers. I'd be looking at giving this around about a 9 out of 10, and I recommend it to everyone. Anyone who likes glam rock, indie rock, alternative pop, I think this album's definitely for you. The Zeros has completely smashed it out of the park and has become my favourite release from Declan McKenna. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions on this album, and I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Feel free to let me know any opinions you have, no matter whether it's positive or negative. They're all valid at the end of the day. Music is subjective, and I think that's something we all need to remember. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this review. This is one of my first, so I am aware it's probably not the best it's going to be, but we're just going to grow from here, I hope. This is something I really want to get into. So yeah, thank you for watching and listening.